all, thank you for joining us today in this webinar related to golden visas. Today, myself, Marco Abellán, who I'm the Director of the Immigration Department at BLP, and Victoria Di Joaquino, who is our Director of the Tax Department, will be explaining you and having with you a conversation about the new law. I'm going to give the word to Victoria, who will be explaining a little bit who is BLP, what we do, and where we are located, and how you can contact us after this webinar for any questions.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. In case you don't know us, BLP is a regional firm, Central American firm. We have offices from Guatemala all the way to Costa Rica, and a representation office in Spain. In Costa Rica, we have 3 offices. Our main office is in San Jose. Then we have an office in Los Sueños in Playa Herradura, which is Central Pacific. And then we have another office in Guanacaste, which is the North Pacific. We are a full service firm, as Marco was saying. He is the director of our immigration practice, and I am the director of our tax practice. So we're here to answer all of your questions regarding the new golden visa, the immigration process, and the tax incentives that are granted by this new legislation in order to migrate into Costa Rica.
Thank you, Victoria. And well, I'm going to explain what we're going to do today. We are going to divide this webinar into sections. Section number 1, we will talking about the immigration process, so you know what you have to do, the steps that we have you have to take into consideration in order to get the benefits of this new law, okay? And the second section will be dedicated. Victoria will explain everything about tax, what are the implications of the law. This new law is very specific, what the benefits are, is specifically what you need to know, what you're gonna get if you get the residency. So she will explain you about what are the benefits and how this works. So in order to begin this webinar, I wanted to let you know that first is the immigration process. Maybe some of you know a little bit about the immigration process in Costa Rica and how to obtain a residency, or maybe you have a friend that already have a residency and you already know a little bit about the process. With this new law, there is one important change that you need to take into consideration, and I'm going to focus on the investor regime. The investor regime changed the amount that usually have, and we have been, for the last 10, 11 years in our immigration law, which the amount of investment was $200,000. That usually what people do is purchase a property, and through the property and through that investment, they request the investor regime process. Now with this new law, for the next 5 years, and this is very important, this law is going to be effective 5 years, but the person and the applicant who gets the residency during this period of time will be able to enjoy the tax benefits for the next 10 years. Okay, this is important to let you know. So once, one of the major changes, as I mentioned, is the value of the investment, which is now $150,000. Okay, it changed from 200,000 to 150,000. Okay, that's for investors. Regarding to rentiers and pensioners, the amount will keep the same as today. For the case of rentiers, $2,500 a month. And this income must be proved from a source abroad, okay? It has to be a rent. It cannot be a salary that the person received. It has to be rent, okay? In the case of the pensioner, in this case, we want to keep with the $1,000, and that will be, you have to prove it through a letter that must be issued by the appropriate authority who pays the pension. Okay, and now I'm going to explain this also because this make a lot of inquiries about it. The only three categories that will be able to enjoy the tax benefits that Victoria will explain to you later are the investor, the pensioner, and the rentier. There is no other category that will be able to enjoy these benefits. It's specifically for that. Why? Because this law, the project that began in 2020, has the idea to reactivate the economy in Costa Rica that suffered too much. And you may know from the pandemic from 2000 and it's still in 2020, 2021, from the COVID pandemic. And what Costa Rica is doing is try to reactivate the economy by giving some more incentive to people who wants to relocate to Costa Rica and make new investments. So the first thing is the type of a process. Now about how you can apply. We have been receiving new information about immigration. Also, immigration is changing the process. Currently, the rentier process and the pension process is, we can file through an online system called Trámite Ya. Trámite Ya is a new window that immigration has in order to accelerate and review the process faster than before. So we are talking now that is we're not taking 12 months, 13 months, 14 months in getting a residency in Costa Rica. With this new process, is divided into, the first is called affiliation process, which usually the immigration has, according to the regulations, 30 business days to resolve the affiliation process. However, usually, most of the cases that we have received an answer in less than 15 days. So it's very fast. The second process is related to the residency. So they will review the residency process in approximately 30 to 45 business days. They're actually very fast in reviewing the process, and we have been usually lucky in getting answers in less than 30 days, okay? If you file everything complete, if everything goes with the rules, and we file everything, all the proofs, it goes well. Regarding the investment regime, I know they are going to include the investment regime in this platform because it's part of what the law is saying. The law is saying that these processes are going to have a special window and it's going to be reviewed by immigration. So we are expecting maybe by the middle of September, maybe before, but I think it's September, we'll be able to file the investment regimes through the new platform, which will be accelerating a lot of these processes. Right now, the investment regime is taking about 9 to 11 months after filing, and if everything is complete, okay? Sometimes if we are lucky, if the person is older than 65 years old, we can have an answer in less time, but usually that's the time usually takes, okay? In addition to this, I just want to recall what I said about the validity of this law. And this is important because it's not going to be permanent. It's going to be for the next 5 years. So people who already, who wants to invest right now, who are actually coming to Costa Rica, but they don't decide yet to make an investment, well, this is the time to do it in order to get the benefits that this law has. Again, as I mentioned, 10 years is going to be the person who gets the residency during these 5 years. Between these 5 years, will be enjoy the benefits for the next 10 years. Victoria, I'm going to give you the word now so you can explain about the benefits.
Thank you, Marco. This law has very specific tax incentives. They're not very broad, however, they are important. Basically, this law will allow you to import up to 2 vehicles, your own personal vehicles, and any household goods without any importation taxes or VAT, custom VAT. So this would allow you to bring into the country, as I said, any vehicle or household goods that you already had in your country of residence. In addition, as Marco was explaining, especially for the investors regime, you need an investment of $150,000, which is usually used buying property, real estate property in Costa Rica, which is going to be the house where you're going to be living. The most important tax incentive that includes this law is a reduction in the transfer tax. It's a 20% reduction in the transfer tax, the real estate transfer tax. The regular tax rate is 1.5% of the value of the property, either purchase value or the fiscal value, whichever is higher. So you're going to be receiving a 1.5% reduction, sorry, a 20% reduction on that 1.5% transfer tax. It's important to clarify that the law does not include any tax incentives regarding personal income. And this is important to clarify because all three categories that Marco was explaining do not allow the individual to work in Costa Rica.
Exactly.
So in principle, you're not going to be generating Costa Rican source personal income. An additional thing that is important to clarify here is that Costa Rica has a territorial tax system. That means that any income that you generate abroad in your residence country or any investment that you have in any other country is not going to be taxable in Costa Rica. Only Costa Rican source income. And the law defines Costa Rican source income as that income derived from services rendered in Costa Rica, investments made in Costa Rica, or assets located in Costa Rica. So since you're not going to be able to work locally, there are no tax incentives included in this new law. In addition, it is important to take into consideration that if you sell any of the assets that were imported or purchased during the time of the benefits being granted, you are going to have to pay taxes on that sale. So for example, if you sell one of the vehicles that you imported, there's a 2.5% transfer tax applicable to that transaction. If you sell the property, you're going to be paying the 1.5% transfer tax. Important, you're not going to be paying capital gains because this is going to be your residency, your local residency. So it's an exception to the capital gains tax. Other than that, the law does not include any other tax matters different to the ones I already explained. If you set up a business in Costa Rica, that is very important. You cannot work personally, but you could set up a business and the company could perform services, or you could start, let's say, a restaurant or a, I don't know, whichever business you would like to begin. Then the company is going to be taxed as any other corporation or any legal entity in Costa Rica. It's going to be a regular taxpayer. There are no incentives associated to any business started by any non-domiciled person that immigrated to Costa Rica under the categories that Marco was explaining. So I don't know at this point, Marco, if we should begin a Q&A from our participants, or is there any other aspect of the law that you would like to consider?
Just as a couple of things that I wanted to add, because I received some inquiries during the last week. First of all, you need to become resident. It's not that you can have benefits without being a residency approved. Okay, that's important. Not just filing the process, it's getting approved and get your residency with your residency card. Okay, that's important because I have received a lot of inquiries about this. And the second thing is, as you mentioned, Victoria, yeah, but these categories will not allow you to work in Costa Rica because all the resolutions will mention that you cannot work. But as you said, if you want to open business here, you can do it through a company, which is something different. Not on your personal name. You cannot work for a company, for example. You need to change your status if you want to do that. But under the pensioner, rentier, and the investor regime, you are not able to work. Okay, I just wanted to clarify these two things because I receive a lot of inquiries related to those matters. But besides that, please, I want to open the opportunity to people to ask questions about this.
Marco, maybe also we could discuss a little bit about the Nomad Visa that is being discussed currently. It's another law. It's different to the one that we are discussing, but it's an interesting project that it's in the process of being becoming a law right now.
That's very important. Yeah, thank you for remembering me that, Victoria, because yeah, actually this new project was approved on the first debate, and it's going to be focused on people who wants to come to Costa Rica and work from here with a employer who is located abroad. Okay, this is very important to know, because this is a lot of inquiries that I have received from people from abroad. Marco, can I go to Costa Rica, get a Nomad Visa and work and offer my service to Costa Rican companies? No, the Nomad Visa has, the main purpose of the Nomad Visa is invite you to come to Costa Rica, work from here, but if your employer is abroad. Okay, so what you have to demonstrate here is that you have a job in another country, that you receive payment in another country, that you're going to be in Costa Rica for a certain period of time, and you will like to enjoy the country, stay here, and then move. Because that's the idea of the Nomad Visa, is moving. These people who actually like to move to different countries and work remotely for different places. Not from one only place. This is a completely different idea. And you currently, according to what is in the text right now, if the person is coming alone, it must be proof that it has a income of $3,000, but if it comes with the family, the income increase to $4,000. How to prove this is going to be regulated later, because we are still on the first page. We need another regulations to continue with incorporating to the law. But according to the conversation that I have been participating in, that I review and heard about it, you need to bring a letter from the home company and statements to prove that you have the income, that you receive a salary for that. Or other option is to do a certification of public accounting in Costa Rica and demonstrate that you have the income for living in Costa Rica for 1 year. That is going to be the time that is going to be approved for the Nomad Visa. It can be extended for 12 more months, but it's still in debate if this renewal will be approved or not. But initially, it's going to be for 12 more months. And another inquiry that I received, Victoria, about the Nomad Visa is, if these 2 years will be helping the foreign to change later for a permanent residency after 3. No, the Nomad Visa is a special category, and it will be worked same as the estancia permit, that is currently regulated on our law. So special categories will not allow, non-special category will allow you to change to permanent after 3 years, okay? So this is very important to let you know. It's just a special category, come, live for a while, stay here for 6 months, 1 year, then you leave the country and you keep moving as a nomad, okay? That's important, and have a source from abroad. Not can be a local income, or you cannot offer the service to Costa Rican companies or Costa Rican people, because you are not allowed to work. It's just to work from a company from abroad, okay? Because then we have to change the category and work with other ones which are completely different. It's not related to what we are discussing today here.
And important to add, what you were saying is that the income you receive from your employer abroad, it's not going to be taxable in Costa Rica. So, well, as I was mentioning before, we have a territorial system. So as long as you're not providing services in Costa Rica, you're not going to be taxed locally. So you're welcome to come, well, if the law is approved, to spend up to a year as a nomad working from Costa Rica. I see we have a lot of questions, Marco, yes, about, so I don't know if you want to begin with the first one.
Okay, I'm going to review the first question. It says here, it's in Spanish, but I'm going to translate it for the rest of people who are participating here. Obtaining a residency makes an obligation to stay a minimum time in Costa Rica. Yes. When you become a resident, you need to be in Costa Rica. And that is very interesting, because this is a very common question that I receive. What time do I have to stay here? If you ask me, according to several different opinions for immigration, you need to be here for 6 months. This is not on the law. This is not exactly on the law and the regulation. This was published in in a document that is only managed by immigration, but you should be here at least 6 months a year. However, in the practice, if you stay here at least, my recommendation is at least 4 months a year, and this can be done in the whole year. It has to be 4 straight months. No, you can be here 4 months. You won't have any inconvenience to renew your residency at the moment you need to renew it. The situation here is when you spend more than 12 months straight away from Costa Rica, because at that moment, you will, at the time of renewal, you need to explain why you stay 12 months away from Costa Rica, and you need to bring your a criminal record from your home country, demonstrating that you, during that year, you didn't have any judicial problems or any police problems in the home country. Okay, a second question. This law is only for single home investment or include real estate developers? Victoria, Jean-Pierre, in this case, no, this is only for single home investment. It's specifically for the person who comes to Costa Rica, purchase a property and get the benefit. Doesn't work for developers.
Mm-hmm. It's important to clarify that real estate developers are going to be taxed as a developer. And then we're talking about corporate income tax and not a personal, it's not a personal property. It's not going to be used for personal reasons. So we're talking about a completely different tax regime.
Okay, we have a question with the $150,000. Real estate investment, is the resident temporary or permanent? No, it's temporary. And I want to explain you about the temporary residency. The permanent residency you can obtain only for in two cases. One, if you stay with a temporary residency for 3 consecutive years. And the second option, if you are the parent of a Costa Rican, okay? Temporary residency will be the other. Almost all categories will be temporary first, okay? If you invest 150, you obtain the investment regime process, which is temporary. After 3 years, you can change your category to permanent, okay? Or after 3 years. For married couples, does the 450 investment require apply to each individual or a couple together? That's a very good question, Stephen, and I receive a lot of that. And I want to explain you how this works. With the $150,000 is the investment for one person. And if you are a couple, if you're married, you can include your spouse as a dependent, or your spouse can be the principal and you can become the dependent, okay? If the property is registered under a company name, the shares should be in the name of one of the applicants. If the property is, the value of the property is $150,000. Why? Because if you divide the shares 50 and 50 in each of the couple, in each of you, you will have an investment of $75,000 each. So you will meet that requirement. So the $150,000 should be for one of the main applicants. If the property is $300,000, yes, both of you will be able to apply as individual investors, okay, with 150 each. But that's the way it works, okay? I had another question from Heather. It said, will a property already purchased qualify as required investment? This is another very interesting question, because the idea of this is that you already, actually this law is to incentive people who come to Costa Rica and invest. However, if you have not applied for residency yet, and you already have the investment here, you can apply, because actually the law doesn't actually says that it has to be a new investment. It just says, make an investment and apply for, get the residency, you get the residency and you have the investment, you will get the benefits. It actually doesn't have any restriction on that. So if you have not applied yet for residency and you have the investment, you can try to apply for this. Residencia, okay. I got a question from Giselle. Residencia migratoria es diferente a residencia fiscal. ¿Cuánto demora obtener residencia fiscal? It is different. Victoria, I give you the word for that.
Yes. Well, Giselle is asking about the difference between the tax residents and the immigration residents, and it is different. As we were explaining before, none of these categories that Marco mentioned allows you to work in Costa Rica. So you're not going to be generating Costa Rican source income. So in principle, you shouldn't become a taxpayer in Costa Rica. The fiscal residence, the law states that you need to remain in the country during at least 183 days continually or not during the same fiscal year. Going back to the bill of law that is being discussed on the Nomad Visa, for example, what is important about this Nomad Visa is that it will allow a person working from Costa Rica not to become a tax resident in the country and spend more than 183 days during the same fiscal year. We have an annual fiscal year from January 1st to December 31st. So that's the difference between being a tax resident and immigration resident. So it's gonna be 183 days continually or discontinually during the same fiscal year.
Okay, I have another question from Note 9P. What's the cost to apply? Okay, if you want, I will share with you our email, and you can send it to through that. You can contact us because I have to give you a breakdown. I need to know your nationality first in order to put the warranty deposit, and it has a lot of things like notarial expenses and fees, administrative government expenses. So it's better. I can send you everything, but I need to know your nationality first in order to send you a quote. Simon says, where do most of your clients come from, and what are their incentives to purchase a residency by investment? Well, interesting question. It depends. Right now, because of a lot of the problems that South America has with the government and politics and everything, we are receiving a lot of people from Peru, from Chile, and Colombia, but usually we receive a lot of people from US and Canada, okay? If you ask me what is the most clients that I have, yeah, 85% of my clients are from US and Canada. Europe, yeah, we do have several clients from Europe, but usually Canada and US at the most. The incentive to purchase the residency by investment, well, usually most of these people is because they want to come to live in Costa Rica. So they purchase a home to live here. They usually buy the property in the coast of the Pacific coast. Usually we have a lot of clients from the area of Hermosa, Jacó, in Los Sueños, but we also have a lot of people who like the North Pacific side. So they purchase a property in Tamarindo, they purchase property in Pinilla, they purchase property in the area of Papagayo, Las Catalinas, a lot of people from Las Catalinas. We have a lot of clients. So actually, they actually already decide to live here, basically. So that's why they do and purchase the property, because they wanted to stay here. So they want to be living here, and they want to travel to the home country for a couple of weeks or months, but the main day basis will be in Costa Rica. With this new law, as Victoria explained, you have now benefits, tax benefits. So it's going to be more attractive to decide to purchase a property. Also, you can apply for other category. If you ask me, if you tell me, Marco, look, I have a pension, $1,000 or more, I will tell you, just go for the pension process. It's faster, and we can do it through the online process. If you are qualified as renter, I would also tell you this, qualified as renter. It's different. The three of them has three different requirements, but we can study your case and tell you what to do, what path to go through, okay? Okay, I have another question here. Can I purchase a several single homes unit through a Costa Rican company and apply for this special residency? Okay. This is actually not the way it works. Okay. It works. You should purchase the property where you're going to be living. That's the idea of purchasing the property. If your property has a value of 75,000 and you have another house with another 75,000 to complete a 150, it's acceptable. But if you have a house of 400,000 and another house of 300,000, you don't need to apply. You don't need to file both applications. You just apply for one property, one of them. This is the idea. Okay. Cost of, okay. Giselle Ferran, cost of getting residency, the immigration residency and the tax. Okay, so in this case, as I mentioned before, to note, please send us an email. I'm gonna give you all the emails of us so you can contact us, and we'll be glad to share with you the cost of the residency and all tax implications, because I need to know several information from you in order to send you a correct quote. I like to always break down everything so you know what you're paying for. Paulina Moisa is you can rent a property you are buying in Costa Rica, or should be just a primary living home. Vito, I think this is the rent of the property. You can rent the property you are buying in Costa Rica, or you should be just a primary living home. It's a primary living home, right? It's what the law says.
Yeah, it should be used as your residence. If you start renting your property on a regular basis, then it's another completely different tax regime. So it would not apply for this specific procedure that we are talking about.
Okay, next question will be, note, how are the background checks done and how gathers the information? Note, it depends on nationality. It depends on many things. It depends if you are from US, it depends if you're from Canada, it depends if you are from Mexico, it depends if you are from country from South America, it depends if you are from Europe. I can give you a help with this. I can explain you how to obtain it, how to get it, how we can easily done, but I need to know the nationality to let you know, okay? Okay, Giselle, time of staying in Costa Rica for a year to a fiscal resident, as Victoria mentioned, 183 days, correct, Victoria?
Correct, 183 days.
Okay, Paulina, is the new law already in effect? It was signed by the president and it's going to be published in the following weeks. So it's going to be effective very, very soon. I believe, how much it can take, Victoria? I don't know. It needs just to be published, basically.
It needs to be published in the official newspaper. And after that, it's going to be in effect. So it should be by the end of July, I believe it should be in effect.
Yeah. Isaura Perez, will this new law apply to other countries? No, this is specifically for Costa Rica. Each country, I want to give you an example. Panama has their own golden visa project. It's similar to Costa Rica, but it has their own regulations, immigration regulations, the whole immigration process, their own tax benefits. So each country who apply for this type of visas has their own regulations. So this one is specifically for Costa Ricans, for Costa Rica. Isaura Perez, is it a requirement to be a national or resident of the US? No. No, it's not need.
Yeah, it applies to any non-resident that would like to migrate to Costa Rica.
Exactly, and obtain the residency from this country. Regarding to, if you have another nationality and you are not yet a resident of the US, there's no need. You can apply as, if you are from Argentina, you can apply as Argentinian. If you are from Peru, you can apply as Peruvian. If you are from Canada, you can apply as Canadian. David says, if I qualify for all three schemes, which is the easiest one to use to get residency? And if I acquire residency and from as SRL offering consulting services, to what degree can I personally involve in the work? Okay, if you qualify for the 3 regimes, my advice is to apply as pensioner. Okay, that's the first thing that I advise. If you want to jump to the second one, I says investor. And if you want to go to the last one, I say renter. Okay, that will be my advice. Okay. If you acquire a residency and from an SRL offering consulting services, okay, Vito, in this case, if he opens a SRL here in Costa Rica and perform consulting services from here, he has to pay taxes, right, for that service, because he can do it through a company, but not his personal name.
Yes, the SRL, it's gonna be, the SRL, it's basically an LLC. It's a limited liability company, and the company is gonna be subject to taxes. I believe what he's asking is if this company can be the owner of the property necessary for the investment of the $150,000. Or even it could be the business that you are investing $150.
Okay. Juan says, do you have to register in the Social Security with an investor status? Case of yes, what income is the minimum to declare? Yes, Juan, all immigration categories. Every foreign who comes to Costa Rica must be registered at the Costa Rican Social Security, okay? All of them, there is no exception. What to declare? It will depend. We're talking about pension, we are going to use the 1,000. If we're talking about renter, we have to use the 2,500. If we're talking investment, it will depend on the income. I have my way to do this, but it depends on the income of the client. So we have to review the case by case, okay? And find a solution and see what will be the amount that we're going to use in the case. And depending on that, depending on what we report of income and what we explain as deductions for living in Costa Rica, this is going to be what the Caja is going to declare and put you a payment, a monthly payment. Okay. Does the law applies or includes people from city living abroad?
From Costa Rica, I believe.
But
no, if you are Costa Rican, no. you don't need an immigration process. You already live here, so.
Okay, yeah, from Costa Rica, I didn't, sorry. Yeah, okay. Isaura, it is required to present any document that proves the residency status in the US. It depends what you're doing in the US. I don't know what you're doing in the US, so it depends. If you are applying for a green card, or you're applying for a K3 visa from Costa Rica, from the US consulate in Costa Rica, yeah, you need to be a resident here to be able to require some of the appointments. But lately, the US consulate actually is open to receive people who can come to Costa Rica and apply for getting their appointments to get processes for the US. So no, it's no need. Okay, David, how much does it cost to have a file for residency for those investing in a property? David, same as I mentioned before, I will share with you at the end of this webinar our contact information, and I will be glad to tell you all the information that you need to know about the cost and fees and administrative expenses, because I need to know first the nationality, because all foreign applicants need to pay a warranty deposit. This warranty deposit depends on nationality. So I need to know first so I can quote everything to you and explain you exactly what is you are paying for, okay? Marco, are there any tax benefits for a Costa Rican returning back or working for US-based company?
No, I mean, again, we are not, this law is not intended for Costa Ricans. It's intended for foreigners that want to relocate in Costa Rica, and it establishes certain requirements for this foreigner to be able to apply for the immigration status. So no, it's not. It does not include any Costa Rican trying to come back into the country.
Vito, I don't know if this is exactly your area, because I know it's more for other area, for customs. But I've just received a question that if there is any benefit for Costa Ricans without this law, besides this law. I don't know if you have any idea if there is a benefit for Costa Ricans who are living abroad and wants to come back to Costa Rica to receive any incentive or any benefits to.
I don't believe there is right now, but yes, we should definitely consult with our customs department to clarify. But no, I don't believe. I guess they're asking about the vehicles and the household goods being imported into Costa Rica. Not something like this new law, but we should definitely consult with our customs department. And going back to the question Marco was made about a Costa Rican coming back into the country and working for a foreigner employer, the same principle applies on territoriality. As long as you're not rendering services that generate Costa Rican source income, you're not going to be taxable in Costa Rica. But it's not because of this law, it's because of our Costa Rican tax system.
Okay, last question is from Paulina. It says, ¿desde cuándo, from where and until when this law will be effective? Okay, this law will be effective for the next 5 years after publication. Okay, 5 years. The people or the person who apply for the residency in these 5 years will be enjoying the benefits of the taxes incentive for the next 10 years. Okay, this law just was created in order to, to incentive for people to come to Costa Rica, invest in the country, and this will help the country, to get to go through the pandemic situation that we have faced. Okay. I don't have any other question right now. Oh yeah, no, I do. Sorry. Okay, I just received it. Okay, is that 1.5% tax paid by the buyer?
The law establishes that both buyer and seller are jointly liable for the payment of the tax. However, this is usually negotiated between buyer and seller. The custom is that usually the buyer pays the tax, but it depends on what you negotiate with your seller.
I have a question from Marco Castro. What if my wife is a US citizen? I did receive that question actually yesterday. Okay, I want to explain you like this. If your wife is going to apply under the residency because she is married to Costa Rican, she won't get the benefits, because only the 3 categories that I explained are going to be the benefits: pensioners, rentiers, investors. That's it. If she applies as investor, pensioner, or rentier, yes, she can. But I want to be honest with you. If she is already married with you, it's a lot easier to request a residency through the marriage. A lot.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
if you're married to a Costa Rican citizen, or you are the parent of a Costa Rican citizen, it's a lot easier to apply on that category.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, I think now, Victoria, I don't have any more questions, right?
No more questions.
I went down and I didn't see anything else. Okay, I'm going to share with you our contact information. You can send us any. You can send us any email to info@blplegal.com. You also can send any questions to our website, which is www.blplegal.com. blplegal.com. You also can write us through our WhatsApp, our Telegram, BLP Telegram, and Signal, which will be all the options you have to contact us and I will be glad to give you all the answers you need, and we can coordinate meetings if it's needed to review your cases specifically and make you a working plan to get your residency approved in the shortest time possible. Vito?
I think we are out of time right now, but we appreciate you coming into the webinar. And please, if you have any further questions or comments, do not hesitate to contact us at the email Marco just gave, info@blplegal.com, and we'll gladly help you out.
Thank
Hope
you
everyone
all.
has a good day.